Thank you. We will now move to the first item, which is the mayor's key item on EX 19.16, report to the Executive Committee, update on Toronto gun violence strategy. Mayor Miller.
Thank you, Speaker. It's difficult to move from something so enjoyable as the success of our inter-county baseball team to something so serious and important and critical to the future safety of this city as the Executive Committee's recommendation that this Council endorse an absolute ban on the ownership of handguns in this country. First of all, I want to thank Councillor Michael Walker and Councillor Raymond Cho for bringing forward the motion to Executive Committee. As those of you who've had a chance to read the report will see, there's an accompanying report from me outlining all of the steps that we have been undertaking together and I have been undertaking on behalf of this Council to improve public safety in this city. This Council has taken the right position throughout on public safety issues in Toronto. We've supported significant increases to the funding for the Toronto Police Service, the most significant increases in the history of the Toronto Police Service. And the work of our police and our frontline officers is paying off. Under Chief Bill Blair, the Toronto Police Service has renewed its approach to community policing and has ensured that there are frontline officers on duty in every neighbourhood helping to prevent crime and catching those who would commit crimes on the streets of our city. And the result is, in every single category except the use of guns, crime is down in our city. And that's good news. And I want to thank and acknowledge Bill Blair for his support. The second thing that this Council has been doing has been investing in young people in our priority neighbourhoods. Through the TTC, the Toronto Police Service, and other programs, through partnerships with the private sector, through partnerships with non-profit organizations, we have created literally thousands of jobs for young people in neighbourhoods that are marked by poverty to ensure that they have real opportunity and don't get drawn into the gang and drug cycle that so often leads to the use of handguns. Those jobs are paying off. That work is paying off. Just Saturday at the Rogers Centre, there was a huge display of the work that young people are doing in our neighbourhoods. It was extraordinary. Because of events on the weekend, I wasn't able to get there, but I was briefed on everything that happened. You would have been inspired by the young people in our city. That's the good news. And this Council has also called on the federal government for changes to legislation which the federal government is bringing in, particularly around bail, saying that if you're caught with a gun using a crime, you should have to prove why you should get bail. It's called a reverse onus, and I want to thank and acknowledge the federal government's role in supporting that legislation. So we're getting everything right. But there's one fundamental safety challenge that remains in this city, and that's the continued easy availability of handguns. It's wrong, and it's not a Canadian value. And I can tell you, since we launched our online petition on April 7th, the response has been extraordinary. As of this morning, nearly 45,000 people, 45,000 Canadians, have taken the time to go online and say, yes, we support an absolute ban on the ownership of handguns in this country. And I want to say to those 45,000 people and all the other tens of thousands of Canadians who support this position, thank you. Because if we stick together, we can actually make change. And the facts are really simple. If you look around the world at countries where there is strong gun legislation, there is a corresponding lowering of the rates of not just murders, but suicides and accidental deaths. There's no doubt about it. All you need to do is look at either of these books. Very simple. Every handgun is aimed at you. All the facts are there. Private guns, public health. All of the facts are there as well. You look at what's recently happened in Australia, or you compare Canada to the United States and to England. The United States has extremely weak and ineffective gun laws. England has very strong gun laws. Canada's a little bit in between. Our rates of crime using handgun are significantly higher than England, but the United States outstrips us all. It's about 11 times the rates in England. Those are the facts. Now, the gun lobby always tries to obscure the facts. And I think in some ways statistics aren't the issue. What is really at issue here is the kind of country and the kind of city we want to be. Do we want to be a place that values human life, that says human life is more important than somebody's hobby? I think the answer is yes. Do we want to be a country that is safe no matter where you walk? I know the answer to that is yes. Do we want to be a country where we don't have to anymore console the families of victims like John O'Keefe, who went out to a pub for a pint, as he had so many times, and walking home was murdered by a gun in the hands of a so-called legal gun owner who had a permit? Do we want a country where people are safe in their homes from accidental shootings and from the opportunity for suicide by handgun? I know the answer is yes to that as well. To me, it's very clear. We can have a city that is significantly safer. We can have a country that is significantly safer if we take this one strong and powerful step. And what a message it sends about our beliefs and our values as Canadians and Torontonians. It sends the right message. The right message. That we value safety and that we prize it and we're going to nurture it in every possible way. This motion was adopted unanimously by the Executive Committee, and I hope all members of Council support it today. Will it put an end to all guns in our country that are used illegally? Well, we know there's more work to do, and the answer to that is sadly no. Will it make a significant impact? The answer is absolutely yes. And if we undertake this action in the context where there's a minority government in the federal parliament, we have a significant opportunity to make this the law of our country. That's what Toronto Council can do today by sticking together and upholding those great Canadian values. And when we do, and if our Parliament acts, our moral ability to go to our neighbour in the United States and say, we've solved our problem. A third of the guns in Toronto used in crimes come from so-called legal owners. We go to the United States, we have the moral high ground to say, we've solved our problem. Now you solve yours and stop letting your guns spill across our border. That's what we can do today. It starts right here at Toronto City Hall. This government historically has always led, and I hope that members of this council support the Executive Committee and Councillor Walker in leading today. Thank you.
Thank you very much.